All right, we are just about to finish 3.5, which is monetary policy. All that that's left to cover this year is fiscal policy and supply side policies. Monetary policy at the end, this should start to feel a little bit like review. 3.57, we talk about expansionary and contractionary monetary policies, and then the effectiveness of monetary policies. So let's take a look at 3.5.7, expansionary and contractionary policies. Again, we're talking about ways to expand the economy if unemployment is high, or ways to control inflation if that's raging out of control. Again, this is sort of an additional exposure to this. Go through the reading and sort of walk through the graphs as you're going through the readings. But it should start to look real familiar. Here we're looking at, hey, lower interest rates, we can increase aggregate demand without increasing inflation until we're at full employment or full use of all the factors of production. Then you're going to start to get inflationary pressure. Contractionary monetary policy is the opposite. It hasn't been a big issue, inflation in the world, in most of the world, for the last 25, 30 years, except for companies who have absolutely horrendous monetary policy, like Venezuela, just printing money, and then they have this problem of inflation, and it's really difficult to stop it. But basically, you shrink the money supply, and it puts the economy into a recession. Uh, the next section is effectiveness of monetary policy, and we're going to do some practice on this in class. But the big point here is if you already got interest rates to zero, going below zero is quite problematic in interest rates. The other big point they're making here is monetary policy is not going to have a big impact if consumers and businesses just have lost all faith and confidence in the economy. Consumers can't find jobs, businesses can't find any demand. Think the 1930s, the worldwide depression. Can't just fix that with monetary policy. Um, some of the strengths of monetary policy, and they point these out before we get into fiscal policy or supply side. But it's really easy to do. Fiscal policy, you'll see, usually you have to have governments get involved in deciding to spend money, and legislature and politics. Monetary policy is usually controlled by the Fed, by the central bank, and they can do it as quickly as they want to. One day they can drop interest rates. So it does have a lot of flexibility, easy to implement. And it's just important to understand that, and then understand that there's also some weaknesses, and that's why we're going to study fiscal policy and supply side policy before the end of the semester.